Hi, thank you for watching. My name's Maria and today I'm going to show you how to come into a wide-legged seated fold with some props. So you will need a couple of blocks or a couple of books. So come to a seated position and take your legs out wide, separating the feet as wide as you can. Keep the toes pointing up and your knees pointing up. Bring your hands behind you and find as much length as you can in the spine. If you need to bend your knees because you're noticing that you're rounding the spine or your tailbone's tucking under, then work with your knees bent. Take your hands to the floor in front of you and see if you can continue to have that length in the spine. If you're able to straighten the legs, go for it. If you're still having difficulty, just work with your hands behind you for a little while until you get more flexible. And if you're able to walk yourself forward a little bit, maybe begin bending at the hips, remembering to work with your knees bent as long as you need to. If you're able to come further, continue to fold at the hips with a nice long spine. So don't sacrifice that length in the spine just to come further into your pose. Make sure that your toes are pointing up. If you can begin to bend your elbows and bring them down to the floor, you can go right ahead and do that. Now, if all this is a little too difficult for you, feel free to grab onto your blocks or to your books if you don't have any blocks and place them in front of you. Now take your hands or your elbows to your blocks and work there. You can have the blocks whatever height feels more comfortable for you. Remember, the blocks have multiple heights, so you can go higher, you can go lower. And just work with blocks until you're able to bring your hands or your elbows to the mat. If you can only bring your hands to the blocks, that's fine. Just walk them as far forward as comfortable for you so that you can lengthen through the arms, remembering to keep the legs straight or bent if you're still working with legs bent, and to keep your spine nice and long. And once you start to get a little more flexibility, maybe you're able to take your forehead to a block. You can stack the blocks one on top of the other, or if you can, you can go lower by turning one block and using whatever height works best for you. Remember, you can have two blocks, one on top of the other, and that works well. And just let your forehead rest on the block and let your shoulders relax as you take your arms forward, lengthening. So you can stay there for maybe a minute or so, maybe a little longer, and then walk your hands back. And I'm showing you now how you can stack blocks in case that you are not able to go all the way down. You can have your head up a little higher and still be supported in your pose. So that's just one way. You can play with it, see what height works better for you. And then when you're done, just come back to sit, remove your blocks, and place your hands underneath your knees to help your legs come back into center. Extend the legs forward. Give them a good shake and relax.